Well, good morning. My name is Samantha Mirabal with Melco's application team, and we're doing our Design Shop Talk today to answer whatever questions you might have. Just a few things up. We stream on both Facebook and YouTube, try to do it on a weekly basis. You can send your questions to applications@melco.com. You can type them in on the live chats. We're live again on both Facebook and YouTube. If you see me looking off to the side, I've got a second monitor set up with both platforms loaded so that I can kind of try to keep up on questions and review them over there. So that's what I'm off looking at. So I'll start off with the questions that were sent in ahead of time and see where we go from there. All right. This one was sent over to the applications email. So they said, I'm designing a font with a bean stitch in the alphabet editor. And I've been setting the stitch to 35 in the editor. When I make a word using the font, stitch length changes. How do I make that stop happening? So I played with it quite a bit, trying to find a way to do that and have it reported to the development team as a bug because it's changed. You're right, it does change it every time. The only surefire way I know at this point to make it work would be to do it this way, which is not ideal, but it's quick and it would work. So if you change this, I only have one bean font on here, so I'm just going to go to bean block. And all right, so whatever you end up doing, so you would use your font, not this bean block font, and once you've got it all typed out, sized how you want, you would come over here, go to Operations, Convert to Wireframe. And from there, all that's going to do is split it out from the lettering element to now all its pieces. Now, you can then select these and change it. The quickest way to do the selection without doing it all manually would be to select one of the element types you want to modify, right-click on it, go to Selections, and then say select same type. That'll select all the walk elements. And then up here, you can change that to 35 and you're set. Okay, so that's the way I would suggest at this point to do it. And like I said, I talked to some of the guys. We've got it listed as a improvement for the next release, hopefully. So they'll see when they get that in. All right. Let's see, what else do we have? When you have lettering that you're importing into DesignShop, not stuff that comes with the program, is there a way to arch it? So when it doesn't come with DesignShop, so let's say you're using, yeah, Kelsey, that's the only way I know of at this point. I did spend some time trying different ways to workarounds, couldn't find anything that was consistent. I could actually make it work, but I couldn't duplicate it. So I figured that's not very helpful to show me hammering at it. But we do have it listed for the development team to work as an improvement. All right. Sorry, that's not more helpful, but that's what I have at the moment. Okay, is there a way to arch the lettering? So if you're talking, are you talking about, no, I doubt it. It's probably just going to be in a service pack. So the service packs go with the option, like with the software versions. I know there's a service pack that will be coming soon, so that applies to anyone who already has V11. Okay, now that I'm rambling, let's get back to this. Okay, is there a way to arch lettering? Now, if you have true type fonts, that's simple. You would come back to Design Shop. Stop it. Oh, that's right, I converted this. All right, let's just do a new one. So if I go to text, let's find a true type font. Yeah, let's do that one. So that's a true type font. That's what the TT is. So not a very pretty one. Well, it's not bad. All right. So from here, if it's true type, this is easy. You would just come over here, change it to arch, and modify it. Now, if what you're really talking about is, where are the things I've bought? There they are. So if what you're really talking about is things like this, A, B, C, D, E, F, fonts. All right, so these are just, again, a bunch of fonts I've bought over time, and where you literally get each letter as a separate file. That's less fun to deal with because you literally have to come in here and Let me copy the path so I don't have to keep on. So if I go insert, I'm just going to go find another few letters so I can show you. All right. So let's actually spell a word maybe. Where's an E? All right, Rev. Whatever. Anyway, so you've got some text. Now let's say you want this arched. There is no just select an arch, you know, like there is with regular lettering, because these are each, yeah, so Melissa, what I'm showing you now is, you know, importing each letter individually. Okay, so how would I arch this? What I would do is I would come over here to, if you don't have the vector option, you can do it as a walk normal and just delete it. I would just use the vector because I have it. And then go draw a circle. All right, and get that to whatever size it is you want it. So if you've got that drawn, and let's say you want that to be a 5-inch circle. Okay, so now it's just a matter of positioning. So I probably would move these all first. Oops, let's undo that. These two, move them down, and then select one. If you left click on it a second time, so click once, you'll see it puts a box around it that has these dark handles. If I click on it again, now it's got those open handles. That's a rotation mode. So now I can rotate it. So click once, click a second time, rotate. And you know, you can do it based on the baseline. So let's say you don't want it in the center of it. Okay, move this one up. Move that one up and rotate it more. And what rotation? I'm just eyeballing it, and I don't like how it's looking currently. So yeah, there's no straight, easy way to, or like one-click way to rotate it when you bring in separate designs like this. So when you bring in all the separate letters, I would just draw something so that you have a guideline to trace around and do it that way. Okay, now I know if you've got BX fonts, BX fonts don't work within DesignShop. You would use that in the other software and open it up, save it off as a DST. I don't use that software personally, so I wouldn't know if you can arc it in there. I assume you can, but like I said, I haven't used it to be able to know one way or the other. But that's how I would do it, is draw some sort of baseline to be able to place it on and then move it around to suit your needs. If you want to do some alignment activities, let's say you want these lined up at the top. If I select one, hold the control key down, click on the other, you've got these justify, so I can actually move these around to better justify them top to bottom or side to side. Or let's say I want to evenly space them across, I can select them all, and then this one is evenly spaced horizontal. All right, so you can use these guys to kind of help after you get it generally placed. Okay, so hopefully that helps some. Well, let's see. Do I need to change any settings or needles when you switch from 40 weight to 60 weight thread? Yes. So 40 weight thread is thicker. It's think of it as drawing with a Sharpie versus drawing with a pencil. That's a little over dramatic, but your 40 weight thread would be like drawing with a Sharpie. Your 60 weight would be more like a sharpened pencil. So you're going to get a thinner line on there. All right. So what does that mean? Use a smaller needle. So rather than using like a 7511, which you can still use, but you'll get better results going smaller. You can use either a 70 or I use a 65.9. When I go to a 60 weight thread, I'll just go down to the 65 needle. As far as settings, it really depends on the size that you're going to. One rule of thumb that I was taught a long time ago is you would decrease your density or add your density, however you think about it. You want more stitches because the thread is thinner, so if you leave it spread out, you're going to have things more spread out. It's not going to fill in as well. So when you go to the thinner thread, you would decrease your density about 30%. So if you're using 4 as what you would use for your 40 weight, just decrease it. Maybe 3.3, which is less than 30, but around there, 3 to 3.3 on the density would be appropriate. If you're using percent, going down to instead of 100% density, going to 80 or 85 would be a good number to try. And so, sewing that out, see what you think. Using percent on the density where you're using the auto density, that's helpful because it will adjust accordingly based on the size of your font. So if you're going, or the size of your sewing, if you're going really small, it'll change the density appropriate for that size. If you're going really large, it'll change the density appropriate for that. So that is a neat little feature, is to go ahead and use the auto. But really, your tricks to getting your thinner weights looking good would be to, add more stitches somewhat and go to a smaller needle. Now, there are some guides that the thread manufacturers put out. If you, actually, I have one here. Yeah, it used to have them on the thread charts where they would give recommended densities and things like that. But they do have a chart. We'll see if we can get it for you on their website. And it's under the resource area where they'll actually tell you what the different densities they recommend for the different threads. So using that, if all else fails, if you don't know where to start, go pull up the particular thread on their little chart, see what density they have, and use that. It's a good starting place, and then you can adjust based on what you're seeing when you sew it out. All right, so here, when I use a standard font in DesignShop that has a outline, how can I change the outlines all at once without having to go monkey with everything? Okay, that's easy. So let's go back to, let me move my coffee cup so I don't keep on having to lean over to see the DesignShop button. Okay, so I'm going to create some text. Let's go to one of the two color, that one. There we go. All right, so I have a two color font. You'll see that gives me a whole lot of color changes. This is not much fun coming through here and selecting them one at a time. Okay, you can do that. So one way is hold the control key down, come over here, select each one individually. It doesn't take that long, but there's a faster way. Notice over here you've got these two color things. These are the independent colors that are being used in your design. Okay, so what you'll want to do is right click on that, go to edit color, and change it to whatever you want, and that will change all the colors anywhere it's used in your design. So if you've got 100 color changes, everywhere that particular color is used, it's going to change them. So you don't have to go through and do that control click thing. So that's the quickest way, is just right click over here, give it whatever color you want, and you're done. So pretty straightforward and easy. We did get you that density guide in the comments, so you'll see it linked over there. Okay, so you'll see that for your viewing. Is YouTube working? Someone's on YouTube. If it's working, let me know, because my screen's not popping up. All right, actually there it is. No. All right, so let's close some of this stuff and go see what else we have. All right, so we did the outlines. How do I import fonts for other languages other than English? Can you have them typed rather than downloading each letter one at a time? So importing fonts from other languages is as simple as finding the TrueType font or OTF font that has that, the different languages. I know I've found, Hebrew, Arabic, some different character languages, Mandarin I've used in the past. So anyway, so those, finding the appropriate font and just installing it to your computer. Once it's installed, those show up as TrueType fonts. So here, under TrueType, you'll find different fonts. Like there's one of the Hebrew fonts I downloaded a while back. Okay, so when you use that, it will pop up over here and digitize it for you. Okay, so all you would have to do is import it. Now, if you need to find a special character, if you're using version 11, you've got the character map down here where you can see all the different characters and you can bring them up. This is for this particular font. So, you can copy them and paste them up into your designs. If you do not have version 11 and you have version 10, you would have to go into the Windows character map, which isn't embedded within the software. let's see, character, CHAR. There, you would just go get the character map, and that would bring it up outside of the software, and you go find which special character you're looking for, copy it, come over to your thing, make sure you have your font selected, and then paste it in. Okay, Katiana Nelson, thank you. My screen wasn't showing up YouTube, so it was confusing me. So I'm glad it's working. All right, so that's what you would do for other languages. Okay, just find the OTF or TTF font, install it on your computer, close DesignShop, reopen it, and you're good to go. This person getting crashes when you're doing more complex things. So I don't know that particular computer, and I didn't get a chance to look up the specs specifically, but what I've found always works, I do a lot of complex stuff, is I make sure I'm using a computer that has a dedicated graphics card, meaning not integrated Intel graphics. So the computers I buy tend to have NVIDIA cards, which is a separate graphics card that has RAM on the graphics card dedicated to it. You know, there's typically most of the gaming computers, those in that class, all have dedicated graphics cards. And that really changed for me anyway, how well it all worked. So it went from, slow or occasional, crashes with complex stuff to I rarely get crashes because of that. So that would be my suggestion, is check your computer stats. You might need a graphics card to help process all the graphics. Pretty much, like I said, any gaming computer should work. Is there a guide for ActiFi settings for the EMT16 Plus? So yes, there is. If you go to, so let me pull it up. All right, so I'm just so you can see how you guys can find this yourself. So if you come to the melco-service.com website, all right, this is where you're going to find all your manuals. So from here, you want the EMT16 Plus, so click here. I always go to the advanced interface, so you want to go to the operator manual, pick your language of choice, and that will open up your manual. From here, you can look for your ActiFeed settings, and I guess I could have just gone to the limits down here. Here's a table of suggested starting points for you. So that would be kind of where you would start, and then from there you'd make adjustments accordingly. So if you want the thread looser, you would increase your number. So instead of 3, let's say you wanted the thread not quite so tight. Well, in those cases, you would, try 4, 5, 6, that makes the thread looser. If you need it tighter, you would decrease the number. So instead of 3, you go 2, 1, so forth. I wouldn't suggest 1, but anyway. So let's see. We do have a link over there on using ActiFeed, but I just wanted to make sure you saw how to get to your manuals for the different machines. Okay. Someone typed in on Facebook regarding the bean stitch question. If you don't have 35 points between the digitizing points, it'll never stitch 35. That is true. So what that is referring to is on your wireframe when you digitize, everywhere you have a click, it's going to do a needle penetration. So if you've got clicks really close together that are 10 points apart, no matter how much you adjust your settings, your needle penetrations are going to be 10 points apart. So you do want to be careful that you don't have too many left clicks or right clicks when you're digitizing, because that's anytime you have a click, you're going to end up with a needle penetration there. So yeah, Rick, thank you for reminding me on that. Keiki, hopefully I pronounced that right. We used to be able to run a report of job runs or by date range. Is there a way to do that now? Honestly, I have not tried it. I'll have to get back to you on that, because off the top of my head, I don't recall where that is anymore. So I will have to look into that for you, and either I'll post on the comment or put it in next week's. I don't know if that report is still there or not. I've not tried it, so I can't say one way or the other. I'll have to play with that for you. and possibly ask some questions of the team if I don't figure it out. Okay. All right, what else do we have? We talked about that. I like to digitize using a pen and the Surface computer. I used to be able to recognize left click, right click. DesignShop 11 only does left click with the pen. So a few things on that. What I would recommend is you contacting tech support so that they can see if they can find an appropriate assignment for your independent, for your specific pen. So we did get you a link on the statistical reports. So I guess it is still there. I just haven't done it, so I apologize. So we have that for you as a on the thread. But again, back to the pen. Some of the different pens are different. Some, like I know the Wacom, however you want to pronounce it, that tablet, the pen works perfect. Nate uses it. He said it works perfect for him. I've got one here. Honestly, I haven't tried it. But I was talking to Nate and he said his Wacom tablet pen thing works great. So he doesn't see that issue. So the best thing I could suggest is call tech support, see if they can help you find an appropriate assignment, and that assignment can get passed on to the team so they can see if it can be integrated directly rather than you having to set it manually for your specific equipment. There is a trick that when you're digitizing that you can try. So if I left click and drag, that will let me do curves. So if all you have is a left click button, left click and pull, see that? Now I'm getting a curve. I no longer am left clicking, I'm just dragging around. So I left clicked and held the left click down while dragging. And now once I let go of it, now until I do my next click, that gives me my curve. See that? So that's one technique you can use to get curves on there. So every time I click, if I keep holding my left click down and dragging, see, it gives me my curves. So you can do curves with just a left click. It's just, I know I like the right clicks. Best thing I would say is grab a mouse. But if you call tech support, since you like the pen, maybe they can help you find the appropriate assignment. So we have a question typed in on Facebook. In the maintenance menu under settings for in and out for cutter and gripper for needle is grayed out. I have troubleshooting. What version of software? And under the maintenance, so there, let's see, to make the trimmer come in and out is those two buttons on the keypad. That's really helpful for you. Let me find the keypad. I put a picture in here. So the hammer and, the adjustment key, I've taken to calling it a hammer, and the trace key. If you push both of those together, that'll make the trimmer come out. If you push them a second time together, it brings the trimmer in. So that's the keys. There's no way to ungray them. They're grayed based on the different trimming systems. So, but those keys are the ones you'd hit on your keypad. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have? All right, so I don't have any more that were sent in ahead of time. Let me scan through comments, see if I missed anything. Lorena, good morning. Let's see. Annette, hopefully that helped you. And I don't see anything on YouTube. I don't see any questions yet on YouTube, but I see the comments, so I know it's working. All right. Anything else before we call it a day? I'll kind of waste a few minutes here in case anyone wants to type in anything. Remember, you can always email questions to applications@melco.com. You can type them in on these threads. I try to review them, the prior week's one. Any tips on doing chenille stitching? So we have a really good set of videos and sample designs, digitizing techniques, all of that have been done on this. So if you come over here, click on the FAQ, and how do you spell chenille? Not like that. Micro. It's like micro chenille. Let's see, there it is. Micro chenille digitizing. So there's videos on how to digitize it, the different threads if you're using the Burma versus the firefighter thread. The micro chenille looks pretty cool with a matte type thread. So whether you're using the firefighter, the Burma, which is more like sewing with a yarn, at least that's how I think of it. The frosted mat works nice, but keep in mind the frosted mat is thinner, so you've got to adjust your densities somewhat. But all the ST3 files down here are there for you to be able to apply the different the styles, so you can download those and apply them. And then you also have some sample designs down here. So I highly recommend watching them. The videos are really good. Guys did some. So that would be where I start. If you still have questions after looking through those, let me know and we'll either record more or I'll get them answered for you. Okay, what else? Okay, I don't see any other questions. If not, I guess we shall call it a day, and I will be back next week to see what else we can talk about, see how we can help you out. Again, we do these Q&A design shop talks on a weekly basis whenever possible, and be back next week to see what we can cover next time. Hopefully you're having fun sewing and have a fantastic weekend. I'm going to a wedding this weekend, so first one since the pandemic. That'll be fun. All right. So you guys have a fantastic weekend. I will talk to you next week. Till then, have fun sewing. Bye, guys.